tonight's sponsors, I'd like to introduce Chris J. Reed, CEO, best-selling author, LinkedIn Power Profile, and board member of BCLA. With over 1,100 LinkedIn recommendations, Chris is the most recommended keynote speaker, CEO, entrepreneur, and best-selling author on LinkedIn. He's the only CEO with a mohawk, has launched 7 global brands from his home of 10 years in Singapore. His flagship brand, Black Marketing, has won Asia's Best Brand, APAC B2B Marketing Agency of the Year, Asia's Best B2B Brand and Social Media Agency of the Year, and has 3 books: Personal Branding Mastery for Entrepreneurs, LinkedIn Mastery for Entrepreneurs, Social Selling Mastery for Entrepreneurs, and they're all #1 international best-selling books on Amazon. He's also been named an official LinkedIn Power Profile from 2012 to 2018, and has one of the world's most viewed search LinkedIn profiles with 55,000 followers, and has won Social Media Entrepreneur of the Year Asia and B2B Social Media Influencer of the Year. Chris is the founding director of the Asian Content Marketing Association. Please welcome Chris Reed.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. This is very much about you. Can you all see that? So this is very much about you, is how you can drive your associations, how you can drive membership by using LinkedIn. So I'm going to give you 6 tips today, because that's all I've got time for, just 6 fantastic tips. You can get many more on my websites, on my YouTube and my books and so forth, but this is 6 tips how you can socially sell on LinkedIn to drive your membership, drive your associations. Because I believe that everyone has a metaphorical mohawk. You do. You all have mohawks, whether you know it or not. Because the mohawk is your key to LinkedIn. Because it's how you bring it out. It's how you actually market yourself. It's how you create that point of difference. So why do I have a mohawk? Well, I came to Singapore 10 years ago looking something like this. So every other Angmo looks like this when they come to Singapore, and you basically think, oh, they have to stand out somehow, you have to make a bit of effort. So then started growing a little mohawk. People start saying, but you've got a little mohawk now, that's amazing. I'm like, something on here. It's all about personal branding. So I realized pretty quickly that because Singapore is so conservative, that if you had a mohawk and you dyed it various colors and changed it all the time, that actually made you stand out. And people would talk to you, and people would literally talk to you anywhere, on the street, in a car, in Shanghai, anywhere you go, people would just be like, hey, you're the mohawk guy, you're Mr. LinkedIn. It kind of makes you stand out a bit. For what we do, in terms of personal branding, makes a lot of sense. Hence why it's on all 3 of my books. Because if you just go into Kino Kinua, is there anybody else who has a front cover of their book with a mohawk? No, not even in the Sex Pistols section, because they don't have a Sex Pistols section in Singapore. But why LinkedIn? Well, I came to Singapore 10 years ago, I didn't know a single person. So I reached out to my connections on LinkedIn in the UK and said, introduce me to people in Singapore. And they did. And the people here said yes, they would welcome me, they would meet with me. And those people have often become my friends since then, but they got my job. And the jobs I got there were marketing jobs. And I used LinkedIn to do it because I didn't know anybody in Asia. And they tended to be jobs across the whole of Asia. And using the data on LinkedIn, because it is the #1 B2B social platform in the world, allows you to reach anybody on LinkedIn. As you can see here, you can reach literally anybody in the world apart from 2 countries. Does anyone know what those 2 countries are? North Korea, correct. What's the second one? What other rogue nation of the world? No, China's up there, 50 million. Cuba. No, not Cuba. You can get people on Cuba and Iran and Syria and Afghanistan and any of the war-torn countries. What's the big bit missing at the top? Russia. Yes, Russia's the only place you're not allowed to have LinkedIn. Unless you have VPN. So China, it's massive in China. China's like the 3rd biggest country in the world. India's now the 2nd biggest. And where I originally come from, the UK, obviously about 26 million, so it's across the world. I love this fact here though. I love the fact there are 7 million people on LinkedIn in Colombia. I think they're all into an import-export kind of business. If you watch Narcos, you'll know what I'm talking about there. But I believe that LinkedIn is like the Godfather. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's all about connections like this. It's like meeting fantastic people here today. It's not about how many degrees you have, it's about who you know and who you can introduce people to and what you can do for somebody. And whether you can ask for somebody for a favor and they will introduce you to a favor. It's quid pro quo. And I love this quote, not obviously because I like James Blunt, because nobody in a Disturbed t-shirt would like James Blunt on stage, but I like it because it sums up LinkedIn. I'm self-deprecating because I'm British. If I was American, I would tell you how great I was. And Americans have this thing. People like Glenn, you know, quite happy to promote themselves, left, right, and center. Actually, Glenn's not a great example. He's very un-American American. But it's all about promoting yourself. When you come out of the womb in America, basically you start selling nappies and baby milk and that kind of thing. Basically, they get taught that at school. In Singapore, they get taught engineering and maths. In England, they get taught how to go on the dole. So if you Google yourself, the reason why it's so important is because your reputation is on Google. And people are doing that before they meet you, whether you like it or not. They're Googling you. So if you Google someone, their reputation comes up, like in Gladiator. So in Gladiator, you might remember the evil emperor tried to kill Maximus. But he couldn't just kill Maximus, he had to ruin his reputation too, otherwise his reputation would live on. And your reputation is everywhere on LinkedIn. And I know that from painful experience, as I'll tell you at the end. But if you Google me, you'll find that out. Because it is all about how you can control your reputation on LinkedIn. So you and your company and your association is on LinkedIn. And you control reputation by controlling the marketing on LinkedIn. So the first tip is your visual impression. Obviously, I'm pretty big on visual impressions, but you should think about that, how you should do it on LinkedIn as well. So if I show you the Joker, has the ultimate visual impression. You know what his brand's all about. Obviously, his mohawk is his scar and his witty one-liners and his cool dress sense and his makeup. But he has a visual impression which you remember. If I show you Karen, for example, her mohawk is the fact that she's the GPS girl. She's on 2 billion devices going recalculating, recalculating, recalculating. That's her mohawk. So you remember her because she's the GPS girl, but she's also a concert performer, a keynote speaker. So she makes no money from being a GPS girl, but she makes the money from being a keynote performer, for example. But you remember her because she's the GPS girl. I remember seeing her at a conference, and I don't remember anybody else in that conference, just her, because she's the GPS girl. So it works. Now if I show you Sophia the robot, for example, you remember her because she's a robot. And she's also on LinkedIn. She posts some really, really good stuff as well. But your background picture is also phenomenal. So from an association point of view, and a marketing association point of view, think about how you use the background picture to market your association. So Andrew here, for example, put the Ritz-Carlton bar at the top there. You are, wow, I want to go to that bar. That's amazing. Well, you look at Dahlia here, who puts her branding at the top there to make sure that as soon as you hit her profile, you know what she stands for. Or even Ryan here. Ryan's on the BBC and Amazon Prime. He climbs mountains and does keynotes about climbing mountains. So the first thing you go to his profile, he goes, here I am at the top of a mountain. Fantastic. And if you've got a product like Pippa here, you put the product on the top to make sure that basically people know straight away, she's an entrepreneur, she's got this fantastic brand called Pippa Nut. Brilliant. Don't do things like this. Because as much as me and Glenn might aspire one day to being George Clooney, we're not. So we can't use his photograph in our LinkedIn pictures. And this is what I call your classic Facebook photographs. Me and Rio went down the boat quay, 3 a.m., some dodgy KTV bar. Rio says, why don't you dress as a panda? 3 a.m., we've had a few drinks. We say, yes, put it on LinkedIn. Not the right thing to do, it's a Facebook photograph. Which one's Melita? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. How do you talk to somebody when you don't even know who you're talking to? And this is what I call your classic Tinder photograph. Why did Elizabeth think it was a good idea to put her Tinder photograph on here when she works for a small company called the Hyatt Hotel Groups and she's in charge of human resources? Not a great thing to do these days. And if you're going to be a keynote speaker, it's best to have a picture like this, not a picture like that, with the one person leaving at the back. Not a great look for a keynote speaker. Definitely, definitely, definitely don't do this if you live in China. Not a great look. Not very career limiting, he says, falling off. Now your personal brand statement's number 2 tip. It's very important you have a personal brand positioning statement. How do you describe yourself? What's your elevator pitch? Mine is, I'm the only CEO with a mohawk. People tend to remember that, then you start a conversation. So what's yours? Nike has Just Do It. Apple has Think Different. I do the only CEO with a mohawk. We also use the most recommended LinkedIn keynote speaker or entrepreneur. People tend to remember those things. They describe what we do, and then it leads on to a conversation. And it's important on LinkedIn because your headline follows you everywhere. So if you post, it comes up. If you like, it comes up. If you comment, it comes up. If you get tagged, it comes up. If you get searched, as you can see there, it comes up. And it comes up more because you have more keynotes in your headline. So think about the keynotes you want on your keynotes in terms of the SEO, the words in your headline to get found. It appears in other people's profiles, so you can see what I do, and you can see what everybody else does, but you can't really see what they actually do, and they won't get found. Apart from this bloke called Bill Gates, well, you know what he does, but nobody else. Now you want to challenge people on LinkedIn. The Mike Nackey, the coolest guy in Nashville, Google it to see for yourself because he does SEO. So we did, and he is coolest guy in Nashville. Now if you're hiring, you want to say you're hiring. If you're looking for a job, you also want to say you're looking for a job, looking for new opportunities. So don't do things like this. Lonely and younger. Not a great thing to do on LinkedIn. Or this. Human being. He felt the need to put human being down there just in case you wanted to find a human being on LinkedIn. Or this. This is what I mean about Americans. Executive demigod at Miracle Health. Why would you do that? Especially if that is your photograph. That's not a great photograph to sell Miracle Health, really, is it? Shelley Shower, wife of Stephen Shower. Why would you do that? Particularly as Stephen did not reciprocate. Stephen has not got husband of Shelley Shower, and surely he should. Because Dale has. Dale's got spouse of owner of Picosa Mexican restaurant. See, he has no brand by himself. He's just out with someone who owns a dodgy restaurant in Hong Kong. Lecturer at retired and enjoying time with the family. Does he look like he's enjoying time with the family? No, I think he'd rather be back at work. People of the Year 2010. If you're going to win an award, it's best to have an up-to-date award. Otherwise, it's like one of those restaurants that won an award 10 years ago, but the chef left. You don't go back. So have an up-to-date People of the Year or Person of the Year, whatever you want to choose, on your LinkedIn. Tell people where you are. LinkedIn's all about telling people what to do and how to do things and engaging. So, for example, if I travel, I put it down here in Sydney, Berlin, Munich, Zurich, for example. Ron does this phenomenally well. Ron travels more than I do. 200 days a year, he's out of the country. So he lets people know, Sacramento, San Diego, where he's going to be. But the best person to do this is actually Landy. Landy does this, she got it off me, but she's taken it to whole new extreme levels. You have to work out where these initials actually are. SA, so maybe South Africa, okay, Johannesburg, Cape Town, I think that's Kazakhstan, maybe El Salvador, I don't know. Next, UK, EU, she's already anticipated Brexit, because she's already separated the two out. The whole thing is there. It's like, blimey, that's a lot of places, Landy. Don't do things like this. A lifelong passion for problem solving on your summary section. What does that describe? It describes all of you, but it's not differentiated at all. It needs to be differentiated. Or this, business leader. Why would you put that on your LinkedIn? It describes every single person on LinkedIn, so don't do it. And this is brilliant. This is a genuine profile. It's a love doctor with his actual skills on his summary section. So he sorts things out like love marriage, convince parents for love marriage, affair, other person. I don't know how you have an affair by yourself. And then he obviously got a bit bored of just doing love and he branched out. So now he does business problem and study problem. But my favorite service that he offers, genuine service, it's a genuine LinkedIn profile, is this one here. Be free from enemy / second wife. Because obviously the first wife business was a bit crowded, so we went after the second wife business there. And Peter here is out of work. So LinkedIn says that Peter is celebrating a work anniversary at 4 years out of work. Not only that, they say, congratulate Peter for being out of work for 4 years. Brilliant. Or this, do not be endorsed for PowerPoints, Excel, and telling the time. Not a great idea. And if you're English like me, you cannot be endorsed for awesomeness or general awesomeness. Only Glenn can be endorsed for that because he's American. Now you do want to create a content marketing plan too. So 4-1-1 is the rule here across all social media. 1 hard sell post. So if I post a black marketing, that's a hard sell post. 1 soft sell post. If I talk about Elizabeth Holmes and what Theranos employees do on their LinkedIn profiles, then that's something about my industry but not selling black marketing. And then 4 unrelated posts. So that could be, for example, the post about how Singapore and Zurich were the top 2 countries in the world to live. Now they also happen to be my top 2 markets, so I shared that. Or this one here about Nike having a polarizing brand. So I have a polarizing brand, so I like sharing other examples of that. Or this one here about Football Manager. Basically all the white players are valued above the non-white players. So I put that out there to start a debate. Or this one here, because I love doing this, surprising benefits of talking to strangers. I'll talk to strangers anywhere. It helps having a mohawk, of course. People either run away or they talk to you. So you want to talk to people. So it's like actually putting it out there still about social networking, but it's not marketing, black marketing. So 4-1-1. Then you want to blog and share. You come across customer experience all the time yourself, so share it on LinkedIn. I love this one here. Went to a restaurant here in Singapore. I served Perrier Jouet champagne in a Moët and Chandon glass. And when I said to them, do you realize it's the wrong glass? They said, yeah, we realize that. I said, why are you serving that? Oh, we haven't smashed on the Moët and Chandon glasses yet. I said, huh? You mean you do have those lovely Perrier-Jouët glasses? Yeah, we have them at the back, but we don't want to use them. It's like, huh? They spend billions and billions of marketing on branding here, and you just put it into the wrong bottle. So I did this post, got 50,000 views, but the most important person was the brand director of Perrier-Jouët, who rang me up and said, name the restaurant, and there's a crate of champagne on its way to you. Before she could say crate of champagne, I'd already named the restaurant. Now, what you do want to do is realize that LinkedIn is still a social media network. It's still about you guys. Connecting and socializing, people like to see pictures and videos. So you want to be yourself. So this is a fantastic example of content marketing, because this is content marketing where it does not mention my company, but it won me 4 clients. Now, why it won me 4 clients is because I posted this about the Ritz-Carlton in Hong Kong. So what amazing service it gave me. Posted it, got 55,000 views. Most importantly, the CEO of the Ritz-Carlton saw it. And he said, that's amazing. That's incredible engagement. Can you do that for me? And can you do that for the Hong Kong Ritz-Carlton, the Shanghai Ritz-Carlton? So for one picture, which does not even mention us at all, in terms of black marketing, I won 4 clients. And that's what content marketing should all be about, social selling. It's not hard selling. And you want to be spontaneous and authentic, and even on a Sunday. That's what I mean about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is still a social media network, even on a Sunday. So this happened to me going to Tokyo, Sunday night. Went in there, opened up my luggage, and they basically went through all my books. You can see these bemused Japanese police there going, what are these books? What are these books? Literally going through everyone, looking, there's obviously seen too many James Bond movies. They started looking a bit like cutouts for the drugs and the guns inside. They thought they were going to find. I'm going, I've come to Singapore. What drugs and guns are going to possibly be here? The best thing they said, they went to this picture and they said, is this you? And I was feeling particularly sarcastic at the time, said, how many other people with a mohawk come through Tokyo airport tonight? But I posted it at the same time. They told me not to post it, but it got enormous traction. Because other people said, yeah, I've been stopped 49 times in Singapore. Yeah, I've been stopped in the UK. Yeah, I've been stopped in Sydney. So everyone else was able to relate a similar experience. And that's what LinkedIn's all about. It's a business experience, it's contextual, but on a Sunday night it went viral. It was fantastic. And it's not the size of your following that matters, it's actually the story, the power of your story. Classic content marketing is turning 242 connections into 20,000. And she did this with this post. Simple post. This is New Zealand. This is even a glamorous place. This is New Zealand. And she talked about how she's a single mum, and she had this journey, and she had to basically fight and basically study and brought herself up as a quantity surveyor. And it's a brilliant story, and it caught on. 300,000 likes, 20,000 comments, over 10 million impressions, and then she ended up with 20,000 followers. One story. That's the power of content marketing. You don't need to be selling hard or doing something fancy. Just be authentic. Be authentically yourself like she was. She never expected this to happen. But she got it just by hearing the power of the story and being authentic. And you do want to be a leader. So there's another phrase you should remember is 1-9-90. 1% of people on LinkedIn create. Only 1%. So you want to be the 1%. 9% of people like, share, and comment. This is all social media. Facebook, WeChat, LinkedIn, Instagram, and so forth. 90% of people do nothing. Nothing at all. So 90% of you guys will do absolutely nothing on LinkedIn. You'll just look at things on Facebook, you'll look down at things, and you won't do anything. People are nodding, yes, that's me, yes, that's me. But you want to be the 1%, like Stephanie. Stephanie's a fantastic example of a female entrepreneur in Singapore, and she has great hairstyle too. But she gets personal branding about standing out in what is a very conservative society. She's a lawyer. She runs a boutique law firm. Most of her clients are men. So she has to stand out. She has to stand out with authenticity and authority. So every time that she's posted on the Business Times or the FT or the American Lawyer, she puts it on LinkedIn. Because she has to try that bit harder to make sure people take her seriously. And when they experience her, meet her, they obviously take her really seriously because she's a serious woman. But she has to do this, and she promotes it very, very well. You can do the same thing. And you want to tag people. If you want to take a picture today, for example, and tag me or Glenn, just do a little @ The Chris comes up. Unfortunately, that's not me. Chris Richards at the top. If you want to have a body like that, then you have to go and see Chris Richards' Ultra Performance. But if you basically tag other people like me and Glenn or Rio, it then pops up on our feed. We can then see you tagging us. You want to hashtag topics. So whether it's social media marketing, for example, things like I've got social selling to go trending because you're using the hashtag and you make it go viral. Then you want to use videos. So video is phenomenally important on LinkedIn, whether it's native or whether it's from YouTube or from Vimeo. And you want to make sure you are authentic. Again, think about someone like Simone Heng, for example, here in Singapore. She puts the fact out there when she's in the studio, puts the videos out there of enjoying herself on the radio, which is brilliant. And she gets thousands of likes and comments. And when Sally does this in Australia, for example, again, thousands of likes and comments. And I know what you're thinking. They're both attractive females. What about the rest of us? Well, you don't have to be like that. You can be just authentic. You can do videos that are 10 minutes long, 10,000 views, and you can look like this. I had this great video about reputation game, again on a Sunday. And I tagged the 2 authors. And they, on a Sunday, got a notification saying I tagged them, read my video and said, phenomenal, the best speed date summary of the book I've ever seen. These are people I don't even know, but the power of tagging means you can get anywhere. If your content's strong, they will respond. That's the whole point. So you want to market your company, your association through your people, not through the company page on LinkedIn. Do not try and market your products, your services, your membership through the company page on LinkedIn. It does not work. You've got to market it through the people, through the leaders. Give you 2 examples. LinkedIn has about 5 million followers on LinkedIn. So basically 95% of people on LinkedIn don't follow LinkedIn on LinkedIn, which tells you something about the power or not of company pages on LinkedIn. They don't have any. Whereas Jeff Weiner, who's the CEO of LinkedIn, has 10 million followers. Microsoft have 6 million followers. They own LinkedIn. No, you can't even get people to follow Microsoft. Whereas Bill Gates has 18 million followers. People follow people, they don't follow company pages. So you want to invest in yourself. Great example is Arnie Sorensen, Marriott International. It's got about 500,000 followers, but when he posts, he gets phenomenal engagement. But the Marriott page has twice as many, but when they post, they get 10 times less engagement. 10 times less engagement. Because no one cares about the content on Marriott International. They care about the content on Arnie Sorensen. Because it's people. People buy people. They don't buy companies. Richard Branson's the best example of that. 18 million followers. There's not a single Virgin company over 150,000. Even Virgin Atlantic, the supposedly sexiest brand, only 150,000 followers. People follow people. They don't follow companies. So you've got to get your leaders, the leaders of your associations, leaders of your clubs, the leaders of your brands to actually be posting on LinkedIn, not the company page. So think about how to do that. Because people buy people. And number 6 tip is Sales Navigator. Because Sales Navigator is the key to social selling for you guys. It's how you will find members, how you will drive events, and how you will actually find sponsors. So you have to invest a bit in terms of Sales Navigator, because it is premium. Everything else I've showed you today, you can do for free. This one you have to pay for, 120 bucks a month. But it's worth it, because if you drive your sponsorship up, your member rates, and your sponsors, and your event rates, and your memberships, it works. So I'll give you an example. I've got about 11,500 connections in Singapore. That's only important because it allows me to reach 330,000 second connections, i.e. their connections, which allows me to reach 1.5 million third connections, i.e. my connections of my connections. That's how LinkedIn works, 3 degrees of separation. Now this means I can basically reach 1.9 million people in Singapore. So basically I can reach every single person in Singapore. Now you can do the same thing by having the right kind of first connections, which means that you can market your association on LinkedIn powerfully by using Sales Navigator's first, second, and third connections. Now you want to do this through Point Drive. Point Drive is the vehicle that drives social selling on Sales Navigator. So you go into Point Drive, look something like this, you create a deck, which could be membership benefits. It could be sponsorship benefits, it could be case studies, it could be events. And then you share that link, see it says get link at the top. You put in content in here, it could be a video, it could be a white paper, it could be anything. Case studies. And you then share that link and you put it into with searches. So searches on Sales Navigator, you look for a search. These are all the data fields you can look at. So you can find members, you can find sponsors, and you can find people who come to specific events because you can use the data. So that could be geography, relationship, first, second, third. Company, you can either go into specific companies for sponsors, for example, or events. You can go after industries. It could be for membership, for example. You can look at headcounts if you want to target multinationals or SMEs. You can actually look at function. Which function are they in? BD, sales, operations, the title. Just as CEOs who really want to, but you have the power because the data is here. Seniority level, for example, and then something looks like this. So then you save that search, and then that search will start generating leads for you. So this is mine, for example. So today, for example, this day I took the screen grab. I have new leads from all these searches. And new leads are if someone joins LinkedIn and they fulfill this criteria. I'll say owner of Zurich, 1 to 500, LinkedIn to I got a new lead. If I connect with you and you know someone who's an owner of a company in Zurich, then LinkedIn will tell me I have a new lead. So it's generating leads for you. It's doing the hard work for you. You just have to follow up with those people and then talk to them about your business. LinkedIn even emails you the searches. It makes it even easier for you, so you know when you've got new leads. Then the searches themselves, you go into the data. So this one's got 2,000, for example. Most importantly, these are kind of 1 to 10 owners in Singapore. I can tell of those 2,000 who has posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. Now that's phenomenally important because LinkedIn does not give user active numbers like Twitter does, Facebook, Snap, and so forth. It gives a figure which is not accurate because it means 610 million members, but some of those may never have used LinkedIn for months and months and months or years and years and years. If you posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days, that's the key figure. If you're also a premium member, this little orange band here, you've got 2 data points which says basically these people will respond to your message. So you have to focus on who's posted and who's premium. You can also look at who's changed jobs, for example, very important for you guys. Look at who people mention in the news as well, or people who share experiences in terms of groups for you. So think about how you can actually do that and then save these people as a lead on Sales Navigator. And then you can actually track them. So this is what I can do with all my leads. So you might have some hot prospects for membership or for events or for sponsors. You can actually save them on Sales Navigator and track them whether they're in the news, their shares, whether they changed jobs, changed roles, whether they viewed your profile. You can even track if they engage with your content. Conversation becomes a lot easier if they start to engage with your content. So you can actually see that on LinkedIn. And you get email notifications if people actually engage, or I can tell if one of them have actually viewed my profile, for example. And if basically someone responds to your Sales Navigator, LinkedIn even email you that. So all the data is there. LinkedIn's doing the work for you. You've got to set it up in the way that people that will respond so you can get the data, you can get the engagement back. Now open profiles are also the key to LinkedIn, because the people who actually tick the box which says, I want you to contact me. So it's not someone cold, it's someone who's ticked a box that says, please contact me. So a great example of this, because you can't see it in a search, is you have to look on Sales Navigator, and then you go for the premium. So I can go into premium of Eduardo, who, as some of you may know, is the co-founder of Facebook, is the 2nd richest man in Singapore. So he's worth knowing, he's worth talking to. And I can actually go to his profile, and it says open. That means that I and you can all send Eduardo a message for free. Don't do it all at once, but you can say, Eduardo, do you want to sponsor my event? Do you want to sponsor my thing? Do you want to become a member? I've got a great idea for an app. Chris says, it'd be really good if you talk to me. But you can do that on LinkedIn because he's an open profiler. He gets the fact that he wants people to contact him to investment opportunities. Now Darius here is not open profile, but he wants you to drop him a line. But the only way you can drop Darius a line is by spending an InMail. InMails are premium. You don't need premium to actually talk to people who are open profile. You can all talk to me and I'm open profile, but you can't talk to Darius because Darius needs you to send him an InMail. So who are you going to talk to? The billionaire Eduardo for free, or the not billionaire Darius not for free? You make your own mind up. And you want to tag people, so you create target lists for sponsors, for events, for kind of things like membership. And you can literally do that by tagging, and then you can do a search in the tags. You see, these are basically people I will send out messages to in all these countries. We tag them. So we do research, we tag them, we send out messages to them when it's right. And then you can see the tags and searches. So LinkedIn has the ability to create effectively a CRM system that's an outbound and an inbound lead generation tool. You can even track people as well. So you can track here that I viewed all these profiles, or my team has, but not this guy. You can have exclude viewed leads as well. You can exclude connected leads, contacted leads. You can even exclude every single person on there you've talked to, so you basically don't hit the same person twice. which again is very good for a membership organization because you don't want to be spamming the same people. You want a fresh bunch of leads, and LinkedIn allows you to do that. And even see the messages on the profiles themselves, for example. So in summary, your reputation, your client's reputation, your association is on LinkedIn. This is why I had to rebuild my reputation, because I wrote this blog about taxi drivers about 6 years ago. I appeared in all these papers, the radio, the TV. If you Google me, Chris Reeds, taxis, it still comes up. So I learned quite a big lesson in terms of things not to do in Singapore. Right? Blogs about taxi drivers was one of them. So I had to rebuild my reputation. But I realized by getting this exposure that I suddenly was famous for the wrong reason. But everyone knew who I was. Some people said to me, you should not have written that blog. Some people said to me, you should write that blog, but not in that way. And some people say, I agree with you, but don't write blogs. But nevertheless, I realized I had a Marmite brand, which is basically you love it or you hate it. But you have name recognition. So that's why we built up black marketing, because everyone knew who I was. So it's easy to start a conversation if you start by going, oh, you're the taxi guy. And then you build a business. And we've got a global business now. Most of our clients are not in Singapore, for example. And then I worked so hard, we actually built up a reputation where the Business Times actually features on their newspaper. I think they just wanted to put a mohawk on the front page. Obviously never happened in Singapore ever before. And then we got 1,250 LinkedIn recommendations, because we work very, very hard at delivering for our clients. And we employ this wonderful team of mostly Singaporeans, and we've even embraced diversity now. We now employ men as well. If you want more tips, you can look at my books. You get Spotify for free, it's on Audiobook, YouTube, Amazon Kindle. Thank you very much for listening.